Yeah, I think Black Widow's coming out. Are they
Like
dropping that on Disney Plus or is that
it's
only in theaters?
it's in Disney Plus. You have to pay $30 for it.
What is it?
Ugh.
Disney Black Widow.
Yeah, it's going to be like Cruella. Yeah.
But I may go ahead and put it on the TV Dudes Disney Plus because we're all going to watch it. We'll Patreon that thing next week because I think it's on now.
Oh, is it?
Because I think it was showing is available now. Yeah.
Oh shit! Sorry guys, something's wrong with my internet or whatever. Can't do the podcast.
Feeling sick now. Oh.
Episode 340 of the TV Dudes, recorded July 7th, 2021. The children are our future. This week, a reminder that the children are our future. They might be battling to save us from evil curses like in Jujutsu Kaisen on HBO Max. They might be a bunch of smart orphans trying to battle weaponized ennui like in Mysterious Benedict Society on Disney+. They might literally be a child at the very end of time, one of the many bonkers things that happens in the penultimate Loki on Disney+. Of course, this assumes they can survive the cliques and sexual confusion and peer pressure of high school, as depicted on Generation on HBO Max. But before we get to all that, I'm Randy.
I'm Les.
And I'm Alligator Nick.
And we're the TV Dudes.
Are we sure you're a TV dude?
He's green.
I mean, he is green.
What more do you want?
We have stuff we're excited to talk about this week. I mean, Jujutsu Kaisen is a Patreon pick, and I have some things that they say about it. And Mysterious Benedict Society was a whole bunch of fun. And I know Les dug Generation, which he did an interview with the creator. But I think we all are so ready for dessert this week.
Yeah.
Because Loki was just phenomenal this week. And we're sorry if you haven't watched it yet and we just spoiled anything for you. But trust me, we didn't spoil anything for you. There is so much craziness in that episode. But let's start off, as always, with our TV Diaries.
The Diaries of the Television Dudes. Brought to you by only the finest cocaine wine.
And I'm gonna jump in here. I believe it's my turn to go first. And I watched, in addition to the homework, I kept up with a few shows. Physical, which I'm still really digging. Central Park, which I'm really enjoying. Bad Batch, The Chase, The Hustler, which Kyle should be happy. He's put me on a couple game shows regularly. Latest episode of Evil, where I mistook the guest actress for Casey Wilson from Happy Endings. Because I swear to God it looks like her, but it was not her.
I did the same thing. Randy, the only reason I knew that I could shoot that
You
down
already
in
looked
that
it
text
up?
thread was because I had already looked that up.
Well, and her name was Jane, so I was like, oh, it's a Happy Endings riff because Jane was her friend.
I like that everything Randy's watching is like this one word, like he's trying to create a sentence.
Yes.
I was watching a very physical show about this hustler chasing an evil
Physical evil Bad Batch chase hustler.
His TV broke. It's just magnetic poetry Randy's
in
reading
Central
to us.
Park. That's right. I have the Fire channel from Terminator. That's all I watched this week. I also did watch a couple movies. I watched Thor: The Dark World with my son. We're making our way slowly through the Marvel thing. I watched, inspired oddly by Shannon Lee's angry editorial about her father, since Once Upon a Time in Hollywood got a novel. I rewatched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and I'm sorry, I remain in love with that movie. I think it's really good. I think it's one of Tarantino's best. Yes, it's Tarantino. Yes, it's self-indulgent. And yes, the Bruce Lee thing is somewhat unfortunate. But I think there's a reason it's there, and I have a whole TED Talk I can do about it. Anyway, I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun to rewatch.
I did not rewatch that movie, but I weirdly revisited that because of that interview that he did about that, talking about it again, and the book and everything. Stuntman Judo Gene got brought up. And that's the original. That's the guy that originally did that.
Okay.
Like, there's a real stuntman that he didn't throw him into a car, but Bruce Lee at that point had never been grappled really by anybody. Like, everything he had fought was not grappling, and this dude just grabbed him and threw him on his shoulders and walked off.
Yeah.
And Bruce Lee screamed, "Put me down!" And I'm fucking kill you. And the guy was like, well, now I can't put you down.
Yeah. Now I don't want to.
Because you'll kill me. And he did. I mean, but apparently they ended up being friends, and like Lee took it as a like, oh shit, there's a hole in my style.
Right. Yeah.
and remedied that by being friends with this guy. But anyway, that's the same dude that choked out Steven. That same stuntman is the guy that choked out Steven Seagal and made him shit himself.
Oh, that I like.
Oh my god, this guy's a hero. Why isn't there a movie about him?
Seriously, Judo Gene. You just go look that dude up.
His name is
Fucking-
Judo Gene?
Yeah.
Yeah, we need a movie about this
now.
guy. Yeah,
Judo
for sure.
Gene. What's going on?
And it would basically be the Brad Pitt from Once Upon movie.
Did he murder his wife?
No, I think that was Robert.
Yeah,
what's his
that
face?
was Robert.
Beretta.
Yeah. I also watched No Sudden Move, the new Soderbergh movie written by Ed Solomon, over on HBO
same.
Max, and I don't think we'll probably do a full Patreon on it, but Les and I'll talk about when he talks about his TV diary. And then I watched randomly when I was watching Loki, I saw they had a new Marvel Legends for Black Widow, so I watched that. Those are always good little catch up things. And I also saw they had that Simpsons, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, which is the Loki comes to this. It's 6 minutes. It is entirely stupid, but it was kind of fun.
Cool.
Sure.
Yeah. I think that's. Oh, and also I watched more of Flack, which I finished season 1 and I kept starting on season 2. I'm really digging the little Amazon show, and it's 6-episode season. It's a British show, so I'm almost done with it. Les, what about you?
We'll see. Fanny and I finished up watching The Outsider, which absolutely was worth a second watch. That show's gorgeous, just absolutely beautifully made.
Yeah.
Generation, which I had started watching after getting an interview offer and tore through it. I really enjoyed this show. It's just struck me as really funny. I have no way to know if it's true because I'm in my 40s,
Right.
or accurate, but it's really, really funny to me. And I got to interview the creator of it, who was 17 when she started writing it, and is 19 now, I believe.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna take her word on the accuracy. Then, because of Nick, I watched Mighty Ducks Animated. Watched a couple of episodes of that.
You're hooked, aren't you? You're
Yes,
curious.
I gotta say, they bring in there's like a super sexy duck spy that comes into the fold.
LaCroix Decoy.
Yes, and Jim Belushi, the who's their manager, his reaction is why you watch this show. Like, he immediately is like, "This is the dream. Do you know the amount of money I can make with a super hot duck?" And I'm pretty sure that's the line.
And if I'm the other two girl ducks on the team, I'm kind of like, what the fuck?
Oh yeah, Mallory's like, "The fuck?" Yeah.
Hey, what's going on here? Fuck you.
Watched some Best Friends Whenever. I watched the Seventh Day movie that's on Netflix with Guy Pearce. Randy, you and I were talking about like really enjoying Catholicism for the evil mythology sometimes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Seventh Day looked right up my alley. And it does some interesting things, but it tells it pretty badly.
Oh,
It's
that's
a
too bad.
fucking frustrating movie. Like, I mean, it has some cool stuff going, and when you figure it out, you're like, "Oh, that'd have been rad if you just set it up." But yeah, fucking infuriating. 30 Rock, of course, caught up on Evil, which is going for it this season, and I'm loving it. There's a moment in one of the first couple of episodes where Leland, the Ben Linus Evil character, thinks he's gonna like get one over on the mom, like his now ex-fiance, and he like grabs her hand in a restaurant and she fucking punches him in the face twice.
Yeah.
And it's so like it catches the demon off guard. It's like a rare moment in any horror property to see somebody just like where
It's
the
like someone
demon is
punched
like,
a ghost.
"Did you just hit me?" Like in a restaurant. She's like, "Yeah, do something."
Do something about it.
I love this show. Good Fight, because Tyson's been catching up on it. I started rewatching Good Fight and ended up watching a ton of it.
Mm-hmm.
No Sudden Move, which I'm with you, Randy. So I don't know about you. There's a cleanup moment at the end where they wrap it up a little too pat and tight.
Yeah.
And it's like the last turn didn't quite make sense to me. Everything else was.
I actually thought there was too many twists. I thought they went out of their way to complicate.
Everything else was fine, but yeah, it was over. There's a moment at the end with Don Cheadle and Bill Duke's character where I was like, the credits were rolling, and I was like, there's only one piece of this that I don't have the math to make work.
Yeah.
And you should have stopped just short of it. I really wish you'd stopped just short of it. Also, weird fisheye lens thing going on.
Yeah, I noticed that too. The other weird thing for me, and I don't get me wrong, I liked it. I didn't love it. I liked it. But with Soderbergh and Solomon, I'm surprised how humorless the whole thing was.
it's not as fun as like I want every Soderbergh movie from here on to be Logan Lucky too. I mean, I'll be honest, but and this isn't that funny.
Did you just say cauliflower to me, Les?
Yeah, I did. Your cauliflower plans. God damn it, I love that movie. And No Sudden Move is just not that funny.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some great moments. Don Cheadle's pretty wonderful. Del Toro is fun.
Yeah, the cast is great.
The costume design, whoever made those masks, they are awesome.
Yeah.
Like, it looks so good. But I wanted it to knock it out of the park.
Yeah.
And instead, it's a good triple.
It is continuing the 2021 trend of what seems to be the 2020 movies that got delayed, of being a little underwhelming. Like, I don't think I've seen anything this year, with a couple notable exceptions, that I was like, oh wow, I'm bummed I had to wait this long to see it. Mostly I'm like, this still feels like they're dumping it on HBO Max.
I don't know if that's and I don't know if that's a change in my soul over the last couple of years or what, but yeah, I haven't seen any of these home release movies where I've gone, okay, fuck, I am mad that did not get that the world robbed that of its opportunity for the theater. It's not like if I saw Close Encounters of the Third Kind or something and went,
right,
fuck,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
And I watched The Flash.
Who cares? Did it magically get better?
No.
Or should I just let's just not even talk about it?
I will say, on the one hand, their villain this season seems to be something that they have actually been setting up for multiple seasons, which is kind of cool. Literally every other piece of like on the ground writing on the show, like the character interactions and like people's motivations and stuff, are so bad. It's a god, and it comes out on the same day as Loki, and for the last couple of weeks, CW's been sparing at the indignity of coming out on the same day as Supes and Lois. But it comes out on the same day as Loki, and it's so, I mean, like, obviously you're gonna watch Loki like first, and then
yeah,
it is like having broccoli after bubblegum. Like, it's the worst.
I think I didn't know the Speed Force ran on Les's enthusiasm.
It does.
Somehow you have less energy about this show every week.
No, it's the still force taking over. Dion was back this week. The still force.
Nick, what about you?
Well, it's my traditional update. Did you guys know Jim Henson made bread commercials?
No, they threaten people with death if you don't eat the bread?
Yeah, sometimes they threaten you with death if you do eat the bread. It's a guy comes up, at least there's two different Muppets this time, and they switch up who gets no, they don't really switch up who gets abused. It's usually the skinny one, but the one that kind of looks like a Grimace's younger cousin comes up and is like, hey, what do you feel about Wilkins? Well, I'm not really sure. And before he can finish his sentence, the other guy takes out a revolver and plugs him.
Hey, fella, do you like Kern's bread?
Ooh, well, gee, I don't know, I guess.
You gotta be positive.
You gotta be positive, man. He looks like right at the screen, like, you gotta be positive. Like, look at what happened to him. Be positive about Kern's bread. And it's fun is that it's Kern's, Clausen, and Tasty Bread. But they all, like, Jim Henson obviously screwed them because he made the same commercial for all three of them sometimes. Like, he just reused them. So I'm thinking this was before anyone could like really check on whether or not the thing you were paying for was original or someone else already used it. So I think Jim scammed some bread companies. I'm not sure, but I think one was they went up Mount Everest.
Say, did you bring the loaf of tasty bread?
No!
The guy cuts the rope so he falls down the mountain. Like,
I forgot!
When you come back up, don't forget the tasty bread!
Jesus.
Hey, is that sandwich made out of Kern's bread? Yeah, do you want a bite? Sure. And then the guy bites Kermit the Frog. Just bites him on the shoulder like, oh, what a sharp salesman. And I was like, wait a minute, he wanted the sandwich. He said he was into it. Why did he get punished? That's the opposite of what these usually are. Is there no winning? Is it just this like cube game of you cannot win it? Yeah, I think it was one of them was like I think he shoots him with a cannon.
Okay, buddy, what do you think of tasty bread?
Who never tasted it?
And then he turns directly to the camera, like,
Now, what do you think of tasty bread?
threatening you, the consumer, directly. I've never seen an advertisement legitimately just go to a straight up fucked up threat to you. Like, not to a Muppet, you. Like, no, if you don't eat Kern's bread, we're coming for you. But yeah, I also watched Rick and Morty. I caught up on it. The first episode is online on YouTube for free, I think. And is a great Namor and Narnia riff.
Okay.
Where apparently Rick's nemesis, he has a nemesis that he hasn't faced in a while, is this pansexual Namor character. And if you know Namor from the comics, it's really funny. And they need to get some wine from this alternate dimension that time passes a lot faster there, like Narnia. And the way they take that joke further and further and further is so great. Like, you think, oh, it's a Narnia riff, like he comes back and the guy that he met there was old now. No. It starts like a whole, there's blood feuds that go on in between this episode of what they did in that 30 seconds they were in the time loop on. And people, like, they develop lore based on it. And it's like, it's a myth when they come back. And technology advances based off of this kid that keeps coming back randomly into their world. You know, like, they comes back and there's statues made of, like, is the accursed one. He is returned. And I just love it. I love that Rick and Morty will take a joke and go, like, what's the absolute max we can take this joke? Where can we go? Like, fuck the line, whatever the line is. I don't know. I don't care where it is. We're going to take it way past that. Like, we're going to see how far we can go with this thing.
Where do the writers of this show live, Nick? Beyond the point at the end of
the universe. Untangling that infinite timeline there. Yeah, what else did I watch? I watched America the Motion Picture.
I was curious, but I heard mixed things on that, so...
Well, it's
It's a decent historical description of us, yes.
Chris Lord and Phil Miller, the Lego Movie guys. And it's one of the producers of Archer is on it, and some of the animation is there. Although it looks more like Disney animation to me, actually, which is kind of weird. But it's written by the guy that wrote Wonder Woman 1984. So,
Okay.
and I was like, but for me, I know people aren't gonna like it. For me, I loved it. It reminds me of when South Park was at its best, of like how unsubtle it was with its messages of, like, you know, Tom Cruise is hiding in a closet. Like, hey, just in case you're that fucking stupid, this is what we're talking about. And this whole movie is, one could say it punches down because it makes fun of the Jangoistic America fuck yeah crowd of, like, if you voted for Trump, this movie is making fun of you for being dumb. And it's kind of
Okay.
being condescending. And I would argue back, yeah, that's why I like it. I'm at a point in my life where I'm like, it is punching down, but those people deserve to be punched at. I'm sick of pretending they're not fucking idiots.
Yeah.
The one point in the movie, they literally go like, how would you get people to realize some of these existential crises we're working with this country? I don't know. You have to package it in the dumbest thing possible, like the lowest common denominator, some sort of cartoon or something. I don't know. They had me in the beginning at when Abe Lincoln is given a huge speech about taxation without representation, but he's giving it to John Wilkes Booth at his John Wilkes merch booth in front of the theater.
Okay, that's pretty good.
It's like, what is this bullshit? Like, I don't know what you'd want, man. It's the taxes. Fuck you and your tax. Like, God, that guy is such a tyrant.
Damn it, Nick, you may have convinced me to watch this.
Yeah, you're gonna talk me into fucking watching this.
Yeah, like Lincoln goes with his best friend to watch this play, George Washington, played by Channing Tatum. And Benedict Arnold, played by what's his name? Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Sandberg?
Sandberg, yeah.
Okay.
Playing this ridiculous English accent. He turns into a werewolf and kills Abraham Lincoln. And George swears revenge and builds his Avenger team based off of Sam Adams, played by Jason Mantzoukas, playing exactly how you'd think Sam Adams would be played by Jason Mantzoukas.
Jason Mantzoukas plays one note, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a very loud, very funny note, but still.
Yeah, it is, but it's You hire him, you know exactly what you're getting.
It reminded me that I can like Jason Mantzoukas since I watched Housebroken and Invincible lately. I was like, oh
Oof,
yeah, I do
yeah,
like
yeah,
him.
yeah.
Paul Revere is at one point mixed with his dead horse to become RoboCop horse. And
Bravo.
Thomas Edison is like a science witch. Like they don't know what science is, but they know it's powerful. And it's played by Olivia Munn, and it's a female Chinese Thomas Edison.
God damn you, Nick, for making me watch this.
Yeah, I'm sold. Fuck. Fuck.
And they just don't explain any of this. Like, hey, Benedict Arnold was a werewolf in the beginning of this. Do you really give a shit? Like, what? Obviously, we're not going by any kind of historical accuracy here. And if you believe it is historical accurate, you're the idiots we're making fun of.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
one of my favorites is they go to a bar called Vietnam.
That's a lot of men. And it's a sure bet that there's even more inside.
Wait, are we seriously thinking about going in there? Look at this place. It's a quagmire. Guys, we could be here for years and accomplish nothing.
You're right. But we'd be accomplishing nothing for America.
And then it goes completely wrong, and the rest of the movie, they keep arguing about whether or not they won Vietnam.
Oh, man.
Geronimo and Sam Adams are like, Geronimo's like, oh, so just like Vietnam? Like, well, fuck you, we won Vietnam. What are you talking about? Like, well, it was us, right? We must have won it.
God damn it, Nick. What have you done to me here?
Son of a bitch.
Yep. I'm gonna be watching that.
They have a whole big third act blowout where I think George Washington plays the national anthem, which turns out just to be Freebird.
No lie detected.
And they bring in like Paul Bunyan, Johnny Appleseed, Harriet Tubman with an AK-47. Like they just like everyone is like a bunch of background characters in this huge war against the British. One time they just straight up ripped the hacking scene from Swordfish, like shot for shot. And
How? Wait. How would you How does anyone recognize that scene? Why would
I
you
am
know that
dying
scene
more
well enough?
disturbed by that than
Why would you recognize that scene?
trust me, when it happens, you'll recognize it too. I haven't watched Swordfish in 10 years, and I recognize that scene because it's so fucking stupid.
That is the deepest of deep cuts.
right.
That's wow. Okay, sure.
Yeah, I liked it. So fuck everyone else who didn't like it. They're wrong. Fuck them.
If I've learned anything from this history of the United States,
I would respect their opinion if it was right, but it's not. So fuck them.
You have successfully convinced me to watch this damn thing. So congratulations.
Report back. See if it's disappointing. I think you would like it, Randy, because
If
it
I
really
hate
is
it,
vicious and punching down to people that you hate.
if I hate it, you're gonna hear about it.
Oh well, it's not like I made you watch any anime or anything like that.
right.
Like in comparison,
Right.
I watched the Tomorrow War,
Yep.
which is second act is pretty good.
Yeah, that's another one I've heard some mixed things
Too-
on.
Too bad
Well,
there's
actually, the
3
third
other
act is also pretty good. It's the fourth act that's the real problem. Because the movie ends and then there's 30 minutes of movie left. You know, I'm like, what
Oh,
the fuck is happening? I don't
straight
care
up-
about any of this.
Straight up Lord of the Rings style.
Show credits. You're done. You're done, son. Also, the premise is pretty stupid of like the future coming to draft past people for a future war. That even though there's a war coming for these guys too, because it's the future war.
Yeah.
And it's apparently it's not like if the people were coming from the future and going like, you got to do this or we're gonna annihilate you, then I would get it. But they just ask, and then there's like the world nations decide like, okay, we're gonna have a mandatory draft and send these people to the future to fight. I was like, for what? No, we don't want to fix our own future. We're not gonna fix someone else's future. That's ridiculous.
That's true.
Everything's fine. We were invaded from the future, but we shot all of them. We're good. Moving along. Like, in credits.
Last thing I watched was Joss Whedon's Justice League because I hadn't compared it to the Snyder Cut, and people who are saying like the Snyder Cut is better, I'm like, okay, yeah, a little bit. Let's not get crazy. And also, it's 4 hours long, so it's not really a movie. So
Yeah, speaking of fourth acts.
And also, Joss Whedon cutting out all the Cyborg stuff. I'm sure he was mean on set to what's his name that played Cyborg, but also, God, all that Cyborg stuff sucks, and the movie cooks along way better without it. Cyborg is the worst part about the Justice League movie, guys. He makes the least amount of sense. He's supposed to be an emotional core, and he's dead inside. Just this, like, the actor doesn't want to act at all for some reason.
I believe you.
And I know he was like, "Hey, you got to say booyah." Like, "Oh, I don't like black people having a catchphrase." And it's like, "Well, I get that, but also you're a half man, half cyborg from a cartoon. So you have a fucking catchphrase, so get on board, you fucking asshole."
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel like too. I'm like, I get what you're saying, man, but come on, you took the job. You knew what the job was. Come on.
Yeah, like, what do you then? Don't take this Cyborg job. That's his deal. Like, there's almost nothing anyone remembers about Cyborg other than the phrase "booyah."
Yeah, you've got a whole generation of kids who grew up on that who are waiting for that line.
Well, I think that's the problem, that everyone was working with Snyder, and they all thought they were making this serious, like, really powerful mythos of a movie. And I think Joss Whedon couldn't crack that for these guys. Like, no, guys, you're making a stupid comic book movie. Like, all these characters, they don't make any sense. So don't try and do this.
Yeah, you don't want to pull this thread. Like, don't pick at this.
The Flash does more in the Whedon cut somehow than in the 4 hours Snyder cut. Like, in the Snyder cut, he's useless. In the Whedon cut, he does stuff.
I mean, he stalks Iris.
And they nixed that from the Whedon cut because that was fucking weird.
Stalks Iris. It's not nothing.
And I love that, like, yeah, he was probably a real dick on set, but you know what? If I was forced to make a movie with either Zack Snyder or Joss Whedon, I know it would be better for my career if I made it with Joss Whedon instead. How many movies is that guy that's playing Cyborg? How many is he in recently? How many deals is he getting?
Yeah,
probably nothing. But yeah, that was my bitter fucking week of TV Diaries, I guess.
Well, Nick, just as you have convinced me to watch America the movie, you've convinced me I was not wrong to never watch either Justice League.
No, the Whedon cut is barely worth it, only because it's only an hour and a half.
All right, so that is TV Diaries for the week. So it is time for our other regular segment, and that is Stranger Than Fan Fiction.
Imagine, if you will, a reality containing television programs so bizarre they are indistinguishable from the ravings of a madman. Is the show you are about to hear simply a fabrication in the mind of a man with clearly nothing better to do with his time? Or is the truth indeed stranger than fan fiction?
All right, guys, I have a fan fiction here. It's about a guy that turns into an alligator, but they don't know if he's an alligator.
Look, I know that's Loki. Let's just move on.
I know. I want to talk about Loki so bad. Okay, whose turn is it to pick? I forget.
It is Les's turn this week.
Les's turn to pick. All right, so what we got for a number letter generator here? I got E and N.
N.
Sure thing, you fool. All right, what is N? All right, so this show, you guys, is a detective team with two guys, and one of the guys is daughter, and of course a dog.
Sure.
No explanation of why the dog talks or anything, but it's pretty standard. These guys, they solve like supernatural mysteries, and it kind of just throws you in for like the first episode. They're like hunting an underground mole creature, and then they go in disguise, like the dog is actually pushing a churro cart with one of the guys in it, like in an underwater sewer scenario, and even the mole is like, what the fuck is that thing? And then someone hits him from behind. Is like, it's just a distraction. And it's like a bunch of random stuff like that shouldn't work. The main thrust of that episode is actually about mummies, about hunting mummies. And the other guy thinks he's good on hunting, like, oh no, I can hunt mummies. It's like, no, you gotta learn the ropes, kid. And then so the guy gets out and he punches a mummy that they see on the street. He's like, no, that's not a mummy, that's a burn victim. So he just kicked the shit out of a burn victim. And he's like, oh my god, please teach me about mummies. Okay, well, first things first, kids, is that mummies, they love water. So we gotta check by the docks. They're great swimmers. Also, they get drunk if they drink orange juice. Like, there's just a bunch of like, I'm like, okay, is this guy making this up? And like, but no, they turns out that the mummies actually swim away later. So at least some of this is real. And apparently like they shoot. Oh yeah, Mummy 102, mummy wrap is bulletproof because they shoot the guns at him, and they can't get through the mummy wrap. It's indestructible apparently. The daughter, meanwhile, in the B story, is meeting a new guy of hers that turns out to be the son of the Mummy King. And because they had sex, she now has an umbilical cord that looks like a dick is growing out of her stomach. They even mark out like, hey, I know it looks like you have a stomach dick growing, but it's actually a mummy umbilical cord that is gonna. Because that's how mummy wrap comes out apparently for mummies, is that it gets longer and longer, and then you have to wrap it around yourself. And she's trying to like hide it all from her dad. The dad is like knocking on the door, like, "Hey, are you all right in there?" Like, I'm fine. I'm just having a little trouble." "Oh my god, are you pregnant?" "Yes." "Tight." And they elope to Egypt to find Anubis, and they crash the wedding so that they can find the head mummy. Because if you kill the head mummy, all the other mummies will become unmummified somehow. I don't know. And so the dad crashes the mummy wedding and gets choked by the husband, like the groom. And so his daughter comes in and chokes him out and kills him. And then Anubis is like, "No!" But for some reason, Anubis isn't wearing bulletproof mummy wrap, so they just shoot him, and all the mummies turn back into regular people. And the day is saved. That is basically the concept of only episode 1 of this weird show. I did not make it through episode 2. I was like, okay, I know that I'm doing this for research, Stranger Than fan fiction, but this is weird even for me. I don't know. So is this show real, guys, or did I just get fucked up on cold medicine one night and dream about mummies? Like, did I fall asleep with a Brendan Fraser mummy movie on?
Les, what you got?
So I don't think this is real, and it's because I think that dog would have been a panda, and I don't think it would have a churro cart. But I also think it might be real because Nick lives in Wisconsin, and I don't think he's seen a churro cart. But I don't. But so that's my two.
Wow, solid theory, you fucking asshole.
That's my 2 against and 1 for. Like I think it's not real. I deeply don't want it to be real.
So I can't,
unless they're all swords.
I can't ever pinpoint why I think something is real or not real. But something about this one, I also don't think it's real, and partly because I think the main thing is it doesn't seem weird enough.
Yeah, I should have added in like a panda that is also a sentient vampire. Sure.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
gotcha.
Mm-hmm, yeah. So you're telling us this is not real?
So your answers are it's not real.
Okay.
Based off of non-weirdness and churro cart identification.
I haven't seen a sentient dog. I haven't seen a talking dog. If it had been like another animal, like if you had told me this is some kind of variant on raccoon that I've never heard of, and I'd be like, sure, that thing talks. Fuck it.
Guys, this show is totally real.
Oh, god damn it.
And it's not always anime, guys. This one is called Hot Streets, and it's on HBO. And it's this weird flash animation. It looks awful. And the dog is played by Justin Roiland from Rick and Morty. And he plays some of the other insular characters as well. And I didn't even tell you the weirdest part because I thought it might give it away, because I didn't think I would ever come up with something this sick. But there's this runner where the daughter eats an apple in the beginning, and then the dad always wants to talk to her about apples for the rest of the episode. And then at the end of the episode is like, oh, okay, we need, after this whole wedding thing, is like, I'm so glad you're alive so we can talk about apples. Oh my god, Dad, what is it about the apples? Okay, well, it's been a long time since your mother has died. So sometimes I core out an apple, put it in the microwave, then cover the inside with apple butter. And
Nope.
Dad, are you saying I ate an apple you masturbated in? No, you're not listening to me.
Jesus.
I'm trying to say that sometimes I make love to apples and that you ate one. He's like, oh my god, yeah, it was really gross that you ate that. So yeah, if you want to watch, if you have an instinct to watch any of that, that's on HBO.
And y'all are mad at me for trying to make you watch Happiness. I'm just.
I didn't make you watch. I'm just telling you about it.
Yeah. It's just the existence of it.
I watched it so you don't have to.
He's telling us about things we didn't want to know about. That's a different thing entirely.
2 seasons of this.
Oh my god.
With titles like Creamy Zeus.
Also, technically, we consented by creating the Stranger Than fan fiction segment, so it's all our fault. Actually,
you asked for it.
We asked for it.
I don't know, if you podcasters, you always wear those outfits. It's like you're asked to be told about weird anime.
In the same way, we sort of consented to our listeners sending us 1 billion anime requests by creating that Patreon level. Which brings me to the reminder that you can support us by going over to patreon.com/tvdudes. Throw us $1 an episode. In exchange, we get to keep up with our streaming services, pay for our hosting costs. You get bonus content each week. This week, Nick's Mupdates go wide as we begin our marathon of the Muppet movies, starting with the original Muppet movie from 1979, which, by the way, I am almost sure my parents took me to see, but I barely remembered any of it. And I know I've seen it since, but when I rewatched it this week, I barely remembered any of it. It was like watching a new movie to me. So that's going to be fun to talk about.
Yeah, I had to watch it later. I had a bad case of non-existence that year.
We also have our $20 shorter level, so if there are shows you want us to throw into the rotation, you can buy into that level, give us a couple of ideas. We are currently a little backlogged, so we're going to be covering one of their shows every month. Next week, we'll be talking the British panel show Taskmaster. Then in August, we'll dive back into the anime request with Anohana and Psychopaths. But this week, it is time for Mandy's request, Jujutsu Kaisen.
Wait, so Randy, are you saying that if they paid us $20, they could make us watch something like the first 4 episodes of the original Ninja Turtles run, which includes the best episode of TV ever put to air, Hot Rodding Teenagers from Dimension X?
Nick, I'm saying that people should stop listening at the end of these segments so you can stop making suggestions for things they're going to...
You think I'll run out of Ninja Turtle knockoffs to do?
I
won't.
No, I do
Never.
not. I'm not. That is not what I'm afraid of at all. Quite the opposite, actually.
There's got to be one Ninja Turtle knockoff that angered you, like that sucked or like ruined the concept, and like I'll throw $20 at that.
I don't think so. I mean, anything like I love it irrationally. That'd be like finding something Star Wars Randy didn't like.
All right, so we might need to put like $100 towards finding a Ninja Turtle cartoon that Nick is like, fuck this one, fuck it.
Do the research, guys.
Les, think this through. If Nick hates it, what is going to happen to you and me when we try to watch it?
I mean,
I don't think this plan is solid.
Hopefully, like just before I die from withering away from all of this, I see Nick's like head explode and I regain all my power. I've watched too much Jujutsu Kaisen.
What you eating? A sandwich made with Clausen's bread. Want a bite? Sure. Ah, he's a sharp salesman.
Yeah, so let's talk Jujutsu Kaisen. This is it's on HBO Max, the first season, and I believe 22 episodes, somewhere in that ballpark.
That sounds right.
24.
24. It was 24 episodes. I watched 8 of them,
7,
which is a pretty good rundown of it. And someone want to give us Nick? You want to give us the basics of Jujutsu Kaisen?
Sure. Jujutsu Kaisen is about a kid that discovers that there is demons in the world that are fought by sorcerers called Jujutsu sorcerers. Turns out he's the perfect vessel for demonic entities because he eats a finger with one of the most powerful demons in it. And it doesn't immediately kill him, which apparently is a thing that makes you like, oh shit, you're a vessel, which means you could eat a bunch of these fingers and then we can kill you and get rid of this guy for good, which he goes along with without very much resistance at all for some reason. I don't know why, but it seems not to bother him. And yeah, it's filled with a bunch of other kids that are learning. Like it's got a Harry Potter type school for sorcerers. You got your Kakashi looking motherfucker that is always blindfolded because you can't handle how fucking unbelievably beautiful he is when that blindfold is off. Like, I swear to God, guys, like when he takes that blindfold off and he reveals his cerulean blue eyes, I was like, oh, sexuality is a moving target. Shit. Because wow, I'm having some weird feelings right about now.
Well, and he's like crazy powerful. Like he kicks the shit out of everybody with like a Xenos paradox, basically. Like, well, you can't touch me because there's
Yeah.
an infinity between us, and that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's I forget what everyone's got a different kind of ability based off of their energies or whatever. From things that are really simple, like just switching places with your enemy or inanimate objects, or something super complicated like your words are infused with curses so that people do what you say to a certain point.
Did you guys get a vibe? This reminded me of some of the same stuff that I don't know. Maybe I'm watching enough anime. I'm starting to see patterns, but there is stuff in here that reminds me of Kill la Kill, the whole schools and that kind of thing. I know that's a common manga trope, but there's also the jujutsu, and the notion of that is very much like the Hamon in JoJo's. It's like they create this idea of energy. It's like the Force. There's always here's how the magical powers work and why they come about.
Naruto has chakra, Bleach has spirit pressure,
Yeah,
Dragon Ball has ki. Like it's always some sort of thing. It could all be the same.
it's
a
all
thing.
roughly the same, and yet they've still not gotten clear at telling the story.
No,
Because
no,
I
they
had the
have
same
not.
feeling, but I mean, I was sitting there thinking I should have my anime bingo card because we're in a high school and there are demons and you are destined.
Yeah, we're at a point with anime where modern anime kind of just skip past that of like, yeah, this is our thing. It's basically the same as all the other energy, whatever other bullshit. So we're not even going to bother taking a whole episode to explain it.
I've watched. I actually I liked this at the outset, and I didn't hate it. It's not my thing. It's definitely not. I'm not going to finish it out. But I was like I like the characters. I especially like when they introduced the girl. I thought she was great. I like the bit when they introduced the third gears, and one of them was a panda.
Yep.
I thought the artwork and that was a cut above most of what we've watched. I thought the animation was really good here, and the design.
Wow, the animation really stands out. I loved it.
Yeah. I thought all that was really good. I like the concept of this school. I like there's a it almost hits my superhero thing of the power responsibility, where basically this kid is like his grandfather told him, do your best to do good in the world, and that's why he decides to eat this demon finger and do this basically suicidal task. But it doesn't quite get there. It's like, wait a minute, you're not quite selling me on the Peter Parker of it all.
That's my issue with anime that I mean, many, but there's cool shit in this show, and I watched 7 episodes of it, and am interested. Like the fights are fucking amazing. This looks like what I think of as traditional anime. I don't know. This looks like anime in my head to me. And so it does certain things really well. These big ass fights and everything, but I fucking hate the storytelling shortcuts. This thing's asleep, so there's a water drop coming out of its nose. And in order to shortcut this, we're going to suddenly turn everybody to babies, and they're going to make like a little bit, like, so that even like your main hero in the middle of a fight drops to like, oh, I'm super excited little kid. And like, I know they're in every anime, and it's a language, like it is a storytelling language.
It's called chibi.
I fucking hate it. Like, just straight. I mean, granted, I know where this is going. Like, I want anime to tell the story regular. And then I would be wondering why it's animated like that, because I hate that fucking pointy chin style.
Yeah.
And then I would just want it regular animated, and then I would just want it live action.
You just want Avatar: The Last Airbender, and you're not going to get it.
I've not even watched all of that. Like,
well, you're lost cause, Les.
If everything was Avatar: Last Airbender, I'd be a lot more okay with it.
But I would definitely like that style better. I hate the anime style. I hate that it has taken over all drawing. Like, I don't think I've met a kid under 15 that likes to draw, that doesn't draw the exact same way.
Yeah.
Whose chin wouldn't cut through steel.
Yeah. And granted, when I was a kid, we all drew like we all tried to draw like Liefeld or Jim Lee, which was not any better at the time.
No, it's definitely worse. Actually.
So many pouches.
But it irritates the shit out of me that anime just like that this style just took this over, and I particularly dislike what the storytelling shortcut does. It makes it so that it doesn't matter what the plot of any given anime is. It's like you had your movie retold to me by a 10-year-old. And so, like, it doesn't matter if your movie was Raiders of the Lost Ark or Sophie's Choice. I got it told to me by a 10-year-old. So there was a whole lot of like, and then the panda bear ran out. Like, what? Why the fuck is there a panda bear in Sophie's Choice? I don't know.
Actually, counterpoint. If there was a Sophie's Choice told via anime, I'd be much more likely to watch that.
You might get me there, but
You give me something over serious and over dramatic, and
They'll all be in loincloths set in a future where they live on an island, and it's
Yeah.
somehow also Alexander the Great.
yes.
It'd be an easy choice though. Just pick the panda. What
Right?
are you, a monster?
But Nick, this was new to you, right? You had not watched this previously.
Had not watched it. No.
So, as our resident anime fan, what did you think of it?
Yeah, this was new to me. Mandy, I can't thank you enough. This was awesome. I watched all 24 episodes. Guys, if you think the fights in the first 8 were good, there's a fight where they have between 2 schools where they have a group fight. Fuck all those other fights. These fights at the very end, like in episodes 20 to 24, or 18 to 24 maybe, I'm not sure. There's a whole chunk of episodes with just this contest. And those are fucking awesome. The animation on it is some of the best I've ever seen. Like, ever seen on an anime. And that's the reason that the style is like that also, is that they can stretch around in the animation for smooth fighting is easier. And I like the fact that in this one, people's powers that are simple are actually more of the one guy. He just claps his hands and he can switch places with another person or inanimate object that has like cursed energy power in it. And it's like, oh, well, that's a really simple power. How is that useful? Well, they use it with the main character to utterly wreck this other monster's shit. Like, he just keeps switching places during the middle of the fight, and the guy's disoriented. Like, the first, because he's trying to block a punch that's coming at him, suddenly it's coming at his back because he's switched out with everybody. And the look of the fight is so cool. It's like the Raid with monsters, like of how fluid and really cool the martial arts and magic is. I absolutely love it.
I loved some of the shit in this, like the boss with the blindfold, their teacher. Whenever he fights, and he clearly is just like a whole other fucking level above them in the early episodes. That's always like those are always great. I like the interaction with the demon, like when they first realize, oh shit, when he turns into Sakura, I can't remember the demon whose fingers he eats. Like when he turns into that dude and is like unstoppable and fights there and like gets his heart torn out in like the 3rd episode or something. And they're like, oh shit, we have to let him heal before he changes back. Because if he changes back to the high school kid like that, he'll be a high school kid with his chest torn open. And like, I was like, that's great.
Good. I like that.
And then their argument, I liked the kid waking up and like their argument off in the demon's inner sanctum. Like, there's a lot of cool shit in this. I don't like it told through the chibi like anime shortcut styles. But I'm impressed as fuck with the fight scenes. This feels like as far as fighting anime goes, if it's not going to be Carol and Tuesday or something like that, this is definitely up my alley. This is the furthest into one of these series that I've happily watched. Like,
it actually reminds me, not actually, some of like the Marvel choreography. Like, because the Marvel guys, they don't do the way they do fight scenes is they figure out, they don't get the script first. They give the stunt team what the powers are going to be. And they ask, give us some cool stunts and fight scenes we can do with a power like this. Kind of like that we said that they just thought everything you can do with Falcon Wings for that first episode of Winter Soldier. And then they create the story around that so that they're not trying to force different types of weird shit later, so that the story fits around the fight scenes.
So you don't have a fight scene that centers on a stunt that you can't pull off, like no one could pull off.
Yeah, so then these guys all have different powers too that they've obviously thought, like, what if you had this power, what could all be the weird shit you could do with it? How could you use it to your full advantage?
So, yeah, I think ultimately this lands where no one is surprised. Nick really enjoyed this less than I really didn't.
I mean, the things I didn't enjoy about this, I was not going to enjoy about any anime. Like, there's storytelling conventions to this style that are lost on me.
Same.
I will say, in the relative rankings of our animes, this is pretty high up there.
Same. I should say that's overestimating. I messaged Mandy right as I started. I'm like, hey, I watched a couple episodes. I'm kind of digging it, and I stand by that. I kind of dug it. If I had all the time in the world and wanted to watch more anime, this is
question.
What I would
did y'all watch? Did y'all watch dubbed or subbed?
Dubbed.
I always watch dubbed.
Yeah, I usually, I see on previous ones, I've usually watched the subtitled. On this one, I watched the dub because I
Don't do that.
interviewed Adam MacArthur, who is Yuji in the American version, and so I wanted to see what he did.
See, this is one of my problems with watching anime on like Crunchyroll. Is it's all Japanese, and the problem is, I mentioned this previously, that when I'm watching TV, I am usually also doing other things. I'm usually working on stuff for the store, or working on stuff for this podcast.
Can't look
I'm
away if
planning
it's
it, or
all
working on other
yeah.
stuff, and I can't. I have to be fully 100% focused on the anime, and I don't mind taking 40 minutes to fully focus on Loki every week. But if it's something that is not necessarily up my alley, I don't want to have to give it that full focus the whole time. So being able to watch it dub,
I watch
is
it
a
with
big
subtitles
help.
regardless. I watch everything with subtitles, but
Oh, me too.
I bet you they don't have the subtitle version, that running joke about Jennifer Lawrence that the main character is super into. Like that he just keeps
Yeah.
mentioning offhand for some, like why does he keep mentioning that?
Yeah, sometimes the subs, and I noticed this with Carol and Tuesday. Sometimes the dub has jokes that they change the dialogue. It's JoJo's too. The dialogue changes, and it's some of the dubbed is better.
They want you to have an experience like this joke that in its original form would not play with a Western audience. It's an Eastern style joke that is depends on context that you need there. So they change it out to something else that's similar, but like in My Hero Academia, one of the guys has an ice and fire power, and they call him Icy Hot all the time. And I'm pretty sure he's not called Icy Hot in Japan.
probably not.
Yeah, that is not.
Yeah.
That's not. Yeah.
But he is in the American version, and it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mandy, I can't thank you enough for just being like our podcast producer here. If I'm ever in Austin and you want to get a drink, I'm ready when you're not. Because again,
no, you guys can't meet because the universe will explode.
Right, we're two variants.
Yes,
I don't
two
know if you're the
variants.
alligator or.
Nick,
or
I think
what?
we established early on in this week's episode that you were the alligator.
Oh, am I the? Oh yeah, right.
You're the alligator. You're the alligator.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I love my Kern's bread.
You ought to see a psychiatrist.
I did. He told me about Kern's bread. I used to love my raincoat.
Okay, let's jump over to HBO Max and talk about Genera+ion.
Yeah, it's odd.
I'm sorry, what?
It is oddly typographically styled. They've got like a plus sign instead of the T.
Oh, did they do that Fantastic Four stick
Basically.
or whatever?
Basically,
Yes,
it's
yes.
TR2N, which I don't think they actually did for Tron. Thank God. But
No, they did not.
but yeah.
God, that's stupid.
So Generation was one of many recent like teen drama high school kid shows that have come out. I had just interviewed the creators of Degrassi, and that interview will be coming out pretty soon. And so I had watched some Degrassi just recently, and I got an email about the chance to talk to some of the folks behind Generation. So I went and checked out the first episode. At 22 minutes, I feel like they made a smart move on that. They originally, I think, were doing this as an hour episode show. Absolutely needs to be half-hour episodes or 22 minutes. And it is really fast-paced, really densely plotted. It's all high school kid drama. They usually kind of follow a different character each show. And the whole first season, they do this kind of wrap framing device of one of the kids is having a baby in a mall family handicap bathroom. And that just gets crazier and crazier and crazier and crazier and crazier. So they did an 8-episode run, and then partway through it, they got up to 16. And so they ended up, like, it's all technically season 1, but the back 8 are finishing up this week. And so people can go watch the whole thing now. I don't know if they've gotten a season 2 or not, but the cast in this, I really thought they found fucking unknowns. Like, I thought that they had gone and found some high school kids and lucked into some good actors. And I was probably 4 episodes in before I realized that one of the leads is Justice Smith from The Get Down and Detective Pikachu. And like, I'm just like, holy shit, dude. Like, he vanished into this role. And getting to talk to the creators, Zelda Barnes created this with her dads, Daniel and Ben. Daniel is a TV producer. And so he thought when his 17-year-old started writing stuff about her friends or kind of generally about people in the same friend set. He thought, well, this will be a cool, like, hey, see what dad does for a living. Let me, okay, what would you do next on this? Well, if we were really doing this, the next step would be this. And he thought he'd just show her what he did. And also that it would be a really great life lesson in getting told no. Because there's no way this show's getting made, right? And like statistically, most shows don't get made. She ended up taking an internship and getting to work overseas on an HBO show. When she came back, she used her connections there and her dad, and they worked this forward. They ended up getting to make it for HBO. And so she's 19 now, Zelda Barnes, and was just super cool to get to talk to her about the show after having watched it. Like I said, Randy, you and I were talking earlier. I don't have any way to verify if any of the high school age shit in this is accurate or not, because I'm fucking 43. But I thought it was cool, some of the things that having a younger head writer or showrunner made happen for this. There is no point where there's any you kids need to put your phones down, you're on your phones too much, because she was adamant about, like, I only hear that from the generation above
Adults,
me.
yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, the rest of us need these phones. Like, and this is it is, you know,
You lost this fight. This war is over.
yeah. And I was like, you know, you're right. If you put me in charge of that, there'd be some episode that would be about what we've lost by all going over to our phones, and that episode does not exist here. These kids don't have that problem. There is a lockdown episode that is handled completely fucking differently than I would handle it. The second episode, they get a lockdown, and it's just a thing. Like, it's just an annoying thing where the kids are like, is it even fucking real? They have to treat it like it's real. I know, but it's probably just some fucking dipshit at a CVS. I know. Like on the one hand, like, the kids are all scared and this is really fucking with them, but on the other hand, this happens so much.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of little storytelling moments in the show that caught me off guard like that. Also, damn it, now I'm blanking on her name, from Goonies. Megan is one of the moms, and she is damn, blanking on the name. She's played by an actress I absolutely love.
I'm trying to think of the girl in Goonies, but I'm thinking of, come on, guys, don't be chicken shits, and that's Monster Squad.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure I'm wrong.
Martha Plimpton. Martha Plimpton plays the mom of one of the kids, and she's married to Sam Trammell, who was in True Blood. But Plimpton fucking owns it as, like, she wants to be a good mom. She can't. Like her kids, her one of her kids comes out as bi, and she really doesn't want to be hearing that. And, like, she's trying to be like a modern woke person, but, like, obviously hates all this shit. And she is somehow, they are best friends with like, their parent friends are John Ross Bowie and J. August Richards. So Gunn from Angel, and the lisping guy from Big Bang Theory, who does not really have a
seen
lisp.
him in a while.
Yeah, and so they're a married couple, and watching their reactions as, like, Martha Plimpton continually tries to say something good in this conversation about sexuality or whatever, and ends up just saying something like, no, stop talking, shut up, what the fuck. And, like
even the guy on Brockmire managed to do it, of, like, sexuality is a spectrum.
Yeah, and, like, she's like, well, I just don't know why we got to be like that these days, and blah, blah. And, like, and you're watching, like, these two gay guys look at her and, like, you're talking about us. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. Like, it's just withering. But yeah, so the show has a lot of fucking hysterical moments to me. I laughed my ass off at it, and I'm glad it's finally wrapping up.
Is this a one season and done?
I don't know. I mean, it is. They could keep running out these kids' lives as long as they wanted. But yeah, I think it's one and done. I'm not sure. I definitely want to see what else Zelda Barnes can do. I would, on a lot of shows like this, I would say, well, you wrote what you knew, and this is all you've got so far. So, you know, this is probably the show you've got. But honestly, like, the writing on it is so tight that I'm eager to see what else she's got. Like, there may be a Motherland Fort Salem after this clause, you know?
Do you like to eat? Yes. Do you like to eat bread? Yes. Do you like to eat Kern's bread? No? Oh, shall we try that again?
All right, so let's talk about Mysterious Benedict Society over on Disney Plus.
Oh, I liked, Randy, you referred to it as weaponized ennui.
That is perfect.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes,
Nailed it.
had the same moment, Nick.
All right. I have another pitch for you. I believe I could have pitched
Okay.
this show. Here's my one-line pitch.
Well, I'm ready for it.
It is Wes Anderson's A Series of Unfortunate Events.
Oh shit!
Yeah, and I did not.
Greenlit.
I did not like Lemony Snicket.
Here's $200 million.
I really did not like A Series of Unfortunate Events, and I really am liking Benedict Society.
So I liked but didn't finish Series. I thought Series of Unfortunate Events was fun, but it has that weird gothy, take on it, which is not my thing. Wes Anderson, his quirky, brightly lit thing is actually more my style. And this feels so. It is similar. It's all about orphans and kind of sad stuff, but it has this sort of quirky brightness to it that I think Unfortunate Events.
So
lack.
the kids in Unfortunate Events are just trying to survive. Here we are outright on the team that is trying to keep some kind of spark of hope alive in the world, or at least reduce anxiety.
Here's my theory: is that Unfortunate Events, one, it has just people keep dying that are trying to take care of these kids, so it's a little darker. Also, the kids in Benedict Society have personalities.
Yeah.
That's true.
And I realize that Unfortunate Events, that's the point of these kids are supposed to be adult or whatever, but when I watched it, I'm like, these guys are coming off like robots, and they're real boring.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah. No, I thought, honestly, I was into this because of Kristen Shaw and Tony Hale, the big adults. Like, they're
I didn't know
great.
Ryan Hurst was in it. When he turned up, I was like, oh shit, Opie.
It turns out all you got to do is make one of the kids a Russian and a sociopath, and I'm into it.
Right?
Where do I know Ryan Hurst from?
He's Opie from Sons of Anarchy.
Okay, which I've never seen. I loved him in this.
He's
he was
fantastic. Did you watch Rebecca Romaine Stamos was in a very short-lived cop kind of show, like detective show.
I'm gonna go ahead and stop you there. No,
you did not. Yeah, he was on that for a minute. He's been on a bunch of like one season, didn't quite make it shows since Sons.
Okay. All right.
There was something called like The Outsiders about hillbillies coming down from the mountains that we watched one episode of and talked about.
I remember that. I didn't watch it, but I remember
He's a big mountain of a dude in that.
Okay.
Oh, is this the David Harbour's redneck cousin?
Basically.
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
gotcha.
that is absolutely who it is. Yes. that's what it is.
Yeah. He's wonderful in this as Milligan?
Milligan.
Well, I'll give you a mulligan on it if you got it wrong.
The basic pitch of this is that there is this mysterious Benedict who gets all these orphans. They take tests, and they wind up forming this little orphan squad of like 4 kids who are supposed to save the world from this thing called
The Emergency.
The Emergency, which is basically making everybody sad. It really, and ultimately, it is like 2020. Everything's bad. Nobody believes anything good is ever going to happen again.
Yeah, it gives kind of like a mysterious force behind why no one gets along anymore and why people are really stupid.
And it turns out it's being done by the evil Mr. Curtin, who it turns out is Benedict's twin.
Yeah,
which I kind of love when the show first started. I was hesitant about like there's real shit wrong in the world. It's not just a beam going out making us think there is, but I actually really love where they're going with it, of this idea that yeah, we have problems and maybe we have more problems now, but whether or not things are insurmountable comes down to attitude a lot of times. Of like, and if the whole world seems to be at a point of like, fuck, we can't, we just can't do it, well then we're not going to do it. And these kids are kind of trying to keep this like, no, you are, we might surprise each other.
Kids are the only ones that can do it because they're the only ones that haven't been beat down by life yet.
Yeah, and I love that paradoxically, kids are also the only ones that can be the evil, nefarious signal that's sending out the emergency, right? Because we believe them.
We believe them more.
They don't set off our bullshit defenses.
Well, and I think there's a danger there, less than the whole toxic positivity thing. I'm not giving too much away to say all 3 of us have had depression issues at one time or another. We all know that the notion of someone telling you, hey, buck up there, it could be okay. You mostly just want to tell those people to go fuck themselves.
Yeah.
And this is done in a way where it's like, I don't want to tell this show to go fuck itself. I'm like, you know what? This is like when I see Captain America lift Thor's hammer. It's like, oh, I want to believe that there's in my fiction that there are people who can do this, and it makes me feel a little bit better.
It's not telling me to cheer up. It's telling me let's try together.
It's I think that's the message, is that let's try. I like that message of maybe we can't even do this, but I think even if we can, it's worth trying. And I like that message.
So one of the things I think this does well too, we've talked about this. It seems like everybody's gotten better at kid casting
Oh my god.
because I think the kids in this are great.
Mhm.
Their lead, the guy Rainey Muldoon, he is such a good. By the way, that kid's real name is Mystic in show.
I was wondering which kid was named Mystic. I keep seeing it in the credits.
That's his name,
Wait,
Mystic
his
in
last
show.
name is in show?
Yeah.
And his character name is Reynard. I think Curtin calls him Reynard the Fox at one point, and
Yeah.
that's great.
What? Okay.
I love him. Emmy is Kate Weatherall. Is she the sourpuss? No, she's
No,
she's the one with the bucket.
Yeah.
she is who's the Norwegian character who's like super strong, the girl, I can't remember her name now.
Yeah. Is she super strong? I forget her.
She is super strong.
Right.
The one who rides a horse. I can't remember her name.
Absolute dick.
But Kate Weatherall reminds me of that kind of character. She's like she's got a bucket full of everything. She's the sort of gets down in the dirt kind of person. And then on the flip side, you've got George Dickey Washington, who is basically a super smart kid.
I love that he prefers Sticky. Like,
Yeah.
hey George, I prefer Sticky. You do?
He's like, look, George Washington has a lot to live up to, man.
I know, but Sticky is such an awful nickname.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
And then we've got Constance Contraire. Is that her name?
Yes. And
that's awesome.
I am bordering on hating Constance.
Same.
Contraire.
I thought that was the only bad casting in the first episode, but now I think we're on episode 3, and I'm kind of liking that kid.
I feel like they're going to bring her around.
Well, and I like what she brings. There's a lot of times where and we've got this one bad boy on the team or whatever, and at no point does that character actually act like a villain or anything, and so you're like, well, you didn't really. I get the feeling on this show that like Benedict's not joking. We need her there because she is the opposite of everything. Like,
I love that she's the one that can hear the signals.
Yeah.
She's the most sensitive to it for some reason.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if it's that like adult bitterness while still being a kid or what. Like I'm kind of digging the weird and the way they introduced her too, like with the just horrified headmaster of like, you gave her a roommate? Why would you do that?
I like the idea that someone just got in here. Like she didn't have to pass the test because she just found this place.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and then just scratch through every question. No.
Fuck this. Fuck you.
Fuck you. Fuck this. Fuck that.
You should definitely, even if you're not into shows like this, just try and watch the test episode, which I think is the first episode.
It is, and it's great.
It's really fun. It takes like a whole pressure of like if you ever taken a standardized test of how much pressure that is in. There's a whole bunch of cool logic puzzles that like you get to see how 5 different kids solve this getting across a room thing, and they're all great, like because they all find the like loophole in whatever it is, like either a physical loophole, a loophole in the wording of the request, or like oh well, these aren't squares, they're rectangles. They're slightly
it's just wonderful. Like and they really do a good job of having the tests demonstrate to us who the 4 kids are.
You don't have to have a lot of dialogue. It shows their personality visually very distinctively. It's a good trick.
Also have some great ringers in there that like they bring them through, and there are 4 of them, and one of them is this arrogant kid who when they first meet her, she's like, good to meet the competition. Like they give you some things and like, is this gonna be that's a person who we're gonna see ditched out, and they're gonna show us
they feel like they could have been part of the series, but they ended up not being.
Yeah. Also, we didn't talk too much about the adults. We talked about Milligan. We talked about Mr. Benedict. But
Shawl is so good in this.
Kristen Shaw. Honestly, that's one of the
with
reasons
her fruit leather and like, it's delicious. I only have bark left. Don't eat that.
This is the grown-up version of Mabel from Gravity Falls.
So, Nick, I wanted to ask you, when I was watching this, when they first, I think it's in the second episode, maybe they have to relocate to this cabin that Kristen Shaw builds by hand. In the background of a scene. She shows up and pulls out an axe, and like 15 minutes later, there's a fucking Victorian house. But when they go inside, like it really locked in this Gravity Falls feeling that like
it felt like the Mystery Shack.
This show is not Gravity Falls. That is not the plot that's happening or anything.
No,
but
not at all.
If you were going to make a live action Gravity Falls, this is the tone to aim for.
This is the look of it.
This is the look of it. This is the vibe. I love her. I love her gloves, everything, like all of her weird shit.
I for sure thought, like, if she pulls out a grappling hook, this is going to be, I'm going to say, unofficial crossover.
Right.
Yeah, I this was delightful, and it's definitely going on the weekly rotation. Like I thought it was super fun.
You mean Disney knocked it out of the
And
park again? Wow,
It's
how
crazy.
unexpected.
Guys, just brace for Turner and Hooch to be great. I'm just saying, it's just
God,
gonna happen.
Oh man, I don't want it to be, and it's gonna, it is.
Statistically speaking, I'm gonna like Turner and Hooch. That's a
Yep.
weird thing to like know that
Yep.
the probabilities are against me on that one.
Well, you should definitely, if you have not, watch the original movie first.
Yeah. No, I've watched it.
Oh, okay, that's right. We talked about
Mhm.
that. We talked about that.
I'm not that goddamn young, Randy. I love old stuff. I watch Nick at Night. I know things.
Why don't you eat Kern's bread?
I do not approve of the violence in their television commercials.
Violence? What violence?
All right, guys, we ready for dessert?
Oh, it's all I've wanted since we started this.
Finally, gonna talk about real Rob. All right.
Can you believe Rob Schneider was also an alligator?
Are we sure he's a Rob Schneider?
Well, he's annoying.
It is called Journey into Mystery, and it is full of Easter eggs, but it's also just a great episode. And honestly, this may be the best of the Disney Plus Marvel TV shows. This may be the best episode of all of them.
Imagine an apocalypse that is also Kevin Feige's wet dream that he would love to live in. Like, just
Imagine at the end of time, that's where all the Easter eggs go to die.
Yeah.
So, even the episode title, like Journey into Mystery,
Yep.
was the Atlas
Yep.
comic that debuted Thor before it became Marvel.
Yep.
God, that's such a deep cut.
Yep.
I
Yeah, Loki's first appearance was in Journey into
Yeah.
Mystery.
So at the stinger in last episode, which last episode is the only one that gave us a stinger. There wasn't one this week that I saw. The stinger of the end of last week was great. I mean, Kid Loki looks great. Alligator Loki, obviously, fucking cool.
He's the best alligator Loki there's ever been.
Seen Richard E. Grant,
Oh,
and they call him Classic Loki in the
they do. They
subtitles.
call him Classic Loki.
But in the
Yep.
with the horns.
Oh my
I
god,
love
he's
that-
wearing that stupid costume.
I love that half the guys on the fucking planet have some kind of makeshift giant horns. Like
Yes.
whether they're just bent metal or what.
I love that out of the time variants, Lokis are so prevalent. Like there's just survivors. So even Owen Wilson's like, you can't throw a rock around here without hitting a
Not
Loki.
hitting a fucking Loki. I love the idea that there's a handful of characters in Marvel whose main thing is that they just keep surviving shit. And so when you have a place at the end of time, there's like 50 of them.
If you're doing variations, you can trust good guys to always do the good guy thing. How often
Yeah,
can you
it's
trust
true.
Loki to do fucking anything?
Loki sneaks out. Like half
Well, that's the other
half
thing.
the Loki snuck away.
Loki is such a liar and a betrayer that he has formed factions against himself.
My God.
The moment in there, well, at first you think that Tom Hiddleston, like that our Loki, has fucked things up by going out of the hatch and being like, I'm going off on my own. And there's all the other
Mhm.
Lokis up there, like
Yep.
President Loki and all of that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And like at first you think, oh, he fucked up, but then you find out, no, it's a betrayal. One of the other Lokis down here
Loki's.
sold him out.
Yeah.
And watching Hiddleston just stand back and
He's
get
in the
bored-
corner going,
and get bored with it. He's
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
changed. He's like, oh
Yeah.
God, you fucking unevolved Lokis.
like, this is embarrassing.
Yeah, as they backstab one another, just one after another.
Then the gang betrays that Loki.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the Loki betrayed the other Loki, and now there's a huge fight, and I don't even know whose side each one is on.
and he's just trying to sneak out of the room, like fuck.
And then Alligator Loki
yeah.
bites off the President Loki's hand.
Oh God, that was amazing. What the shit is that?
Just screaming. I love the fact, because I had that thought of like, wait a minute, Loki can't be the first one to think of like trying to work together to get out of here. And then the
Mhm.
next scene happened, and I was like, oh, this is why they never get out of here.
That's why. This is
why
probably the
they
most
can't,
Lokis
yeah.
they've ever gotten in a room together and been okay.
This is the reason we can never get anything accomplished with a
We
room
can have
full of
the
Lokis.
four of us. If one of us is an alligator and one of us is a child.
Yes.
Also, the fact that child Loki is the king.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
and like, what the fuck? If you know, well, then what was your variant? Blah blah blah. What was your Nexus event? And that kid turns around and like, I killed Thor.
Yeah.
Well, okay,
Which sounds badass.
respect.
Yeah.
But also, you're 8.
So you killed Thor as an 8-year-old, so also kind of not as
Did you
impressive.
drown him in a shared bath? What the fuck? I mean, like,
Feel like it wasn't going to be a grand plan thing there.
Thor drowns in a sink bath.
Also, before we get into all the Easter eggs of it all, because there's a
my
lot of
God.
cool Easter eggs, I want to say one thing that I did not expect this week was a couple of the emotional moments. Richard Grant's like big sacrifice moment.
Yeah.
Like he out Hiddleston Loki. Like he did a great Loki. And I'm like, man,
Glorious
Hiddleston,
purpose.
Hiddleston is such a perfect Loki. I wouldn't have thought that Grant would have been like so
He's
good. But I'm like,
such a
man,
good madman. I love him.
if Grant had been Loki this whole time, I'd been okay with it.
Yeah.
Like that'd be all right by me.
Yeah, if they ever bring him back for anything else, I'd be fine with it. It's fucking spectacular. Him just owning that suit too, just chilling in it.
Oh yeah, he just wears it. He's like, yeah, I know this looks like a cosplay costume from 1985, but it's fucking what I'm wearing.
Yeah, and I love that they didn't better it or anything when he's doing his huge sorcery. When even like the other Lokis are standing back, going, "How the fuck is he doing that?" And like, I think we may be more powerful than we realize. And he's got his whole thing of like, knives belittle our sorcery. Watch what we can really do.
Yeah.
And like he does this. They don't make the costume look any better. He is still in his ridiculous like Vision on Halloween and WandaVision costume, bringing it.
Yeah. The other thing that surprised me, I did not expect to have an emotional reaction to Mobius and Loki like hugging and talking about being friends. Like I was like, oh shit, I actually care about.
I love
this.
Mobius looking over his shoulder at Sylvie and like, even though he knows
you're my
you
favorite,
can't go hug Sylvie. She's not. She had no body language about hugging. But I just love his look over and like, you're my favorite though. I really and I believe Mobius when he's like, I'm going back to burn it the fuck down. Like,
which is a great callback to the first episode. I love that came right around. He's like, I'm going to burn it down just like you said we were gonna.
Thanks for the spark.
Yep. And
really good.
hate Ravenna or whatever. Is that Ravenna? Is that her name?
Yeah, Ravenna.
Fuck her.
I hate her. She knows it's bullshit, and she's in the dark. She does not know what is fully going on.
Yep.
But she's still just craven.
C20 like or whatever calls her on. I'm like, wait a minute, you didn't know this either. You fucking idiot! Like, what do you think you're even doing?
You just want to know what's going on. You don't care who's in charge. You just want to know.
Theory. Who's behind it all?
It's Kang.
No, Miss Minutes.
I did love her little bit of subterfuge where she's like, I just can't find it.
Oh,
like,
I just can't. Oh, me and my southern drawl.
What about the spaceship?
I just.
Yeah, and I do love that Sylvie catches her. She's like, she knows this is bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, oh, really?
But just in case.
Oh, a magical spaceship, huh?
Just in case it's not, she's got to wait. Like,
well, and I was also realizing in that moment of like, you don't need a spaceship to get to the end of time. You're holding the stick that just sends you there. So just go.
Yeah. Well, and it's also like that sacrifice yourself sort of thing, and it's like, damn, Disney is good at this whole like the plot also requires you to self-sacrifice for the person you love, and it's also a plot thing.
Considering that the TVA is trying to keep it under wraps, like some of the stuff that they're doing, I would think that you wouldn't really want to see a lot of people self-prune.
Well, the fact that she's holding a fucking time pad is like, oh shit, she could go to there if bringing a time pad and bring a whole lot of shit that's not supposed to be back to the regular timeline. You could
literally touch drop anything there anywhere else in the timeline and cause a TVA emergency.
Yeah.
All of that crap has to stay there. Yeah. I was surprised that the giant fart cloud
Alioth?
Yeah, just kind of erodes or like it ages things.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I like that the Cave of Wonders got work after Aladdin. He had to lose some weight and change into fog, but
the smoke monster from Lost, they moved it here.
So it does turn out, by the way, Alioth it's a comics reference, and it was created by Mark Gruenwald, who also created there's a lot of nods to Mark Gruenwald's
you mean they didn't make up a purple lion cloud out of whole cloth? That was part of the weird comics in the 70s or whatever? Sure.
There's 1993, sir.
93? Wow.
And he's a rival to Kang the Conqueror.
This felt very like Kirby-esque to me, of like really old style Marvel, but 93, that's surprising.
I was deeply afraid that this was a Fantastic Four Galactus, like Galactus in the Fantastic Four movie kind of thing, where like we had some giant Kirby machinery guard thing that should have been there, and instead we got a fart cloud. But no, we got actually one of the better looking cloud monsters I've seen in a feature. Because there actually seemed to be some weight to it. You saw it put its legs down and shit. And also, as soon as it touched things, they fucking die. When it burst the whole Philadelphia experiment ship.
Yes. So let's talk a couple of these Easter eggs. Les, you and I had texted a little bit while we were watching this, and I was like, I just said "holy shit" twice in like 2 minutes. And the first one was I saw the fucking Thanos copter.
Yep.
Awesome.
I can't believe that is the deepest of cuts. Like that is there's a point where Thanos rides a yellow helicopter in the comics, and it's just dumb.
It's just Thanos on the side. God damn it.
It's 1979. It's like they hadn't quite figured out the majesty of all this stuff, but that they had the Thanos copter.
I love that it's 1979 is the Thanos copter and 1993 is the purple lion cloud. I have no idea of the timeline of what Marvel is doing.
Well, and then they pan down and we see the Mjolnir, and then immediately after we see Thor Frog, and I was like, holy shit.
Yes.
And he's trying to get to Mjolnir. Like he's trying to get
he's jumping hard.
Yep.
Oh my god.
That's like the fact that we've now seen Throg on TV. Like I've got a friend, Amanda, who is like she is a diehard Throg fan. She loves the Pet Avengers, which has Throg and Lockjaw and a bunch of other characters. And I'm like, we just moved a step closer to getting that Pet Avengers animated series we should have.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, especially considering DC's about to do something similar.
Yeah. There are a bunch of other little Easter eggs. The one I wanted to mention is the one that I did not catch. There's one that I actually saw in like a BuzzFeed article, and I was like, oh, I'm sure there's something I missed. Apparently that we see Avengers Tower, but it does not say Avengers on the side. It says Quang.
Quang.
Queng, which is a reference to a Mark Waid Avengers story where Stark sold Avengers Tower to the Quang Enterprises. The CEO of Quang was Mr. Griffin, who turned out to be Kang the Conqueror.
Okay, I see. And real subtle Kang. Yeah, I'll put a W in my name. That'll trick them.
They're pointing real heavily at Kang, which I still think that's what we're getting.
Which makes me think that they're misleading us.
They're gonna swerve. We'll see.
Well, they made us like, hey, the timekeepers, the robots look like Kang, and hey, look at all this other stuff that kind of reminds you of Kang as well, and it's all dealing with time travel.
Yeah,
and I'm like, no, Kang is an Avengers bad
I'm gonna
guy.
laugh my ass off if he's a total red herring and they kill him in like the first fucking 15 minutes of Phase 4.
I'm joking, but also serious that I think Miss Minutes is actually controlling the TVA.
I feel like there's got to be more to it.
Why is she so prevalent in the series if she's just this little joke thing? Just from TV rules, her amount of screen time doesn't make sense for the sidekick she's supposed to be.
What if she's Ultron?
No, Mephisto.
Hear me out.
Dumbass.
She's Mephisto, and also the boat from Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Ultron, oh, idiot.
This is another week where I was like, I scanned through looking for a post-credit sequence. I was bummed we didn't get one because I just wanted more. And I immediately after finishing this, just like last week, I'm like, I want.
I would have loved a mid-credit sequence with a crocodile Loki. And you gotta check its snout. It's different.
Even if, like, honestly, if they just done a mid-credits of a minute of it chewing on a hand, I'd have watched that.
Just like the shawarma scene, but it's just alligators chewing on hands.
I can't tell you how much I love the alligator Loki. I don't know why.
It's the cock of the hat. It's
the hat. The hat is on an angle. It's not even.
It's this Sinatra like, hey.
Also, alligator Loki doesn't take no shit.
Nothing. No.
Somebody starts talking to him. He goes at him.
I think he's with us. No, he's praying.
Let me at him.
Just jumps up and bites his goddamn hand off.
We're not even sure he's a Loki. They're not sure.
I love Mobius's whole conversation of like, okay, maybe he's not a Loki, and this is just his long game. But then again, that makes him more like a Loki.
Makes him more like a Loki.
You know, it's always the game within the game with you guys, and I respect that.
Respect, yeah.
I love that moment with Mobius of like, but God, that would make you more of a Loki. Yeah, you know, you guys.
This whole episode is fucking gold.
Yeah,
guys, the TVA was created by Alligator Loki and Miss Minutes.
Seriously,
sure.
I still love that their argument for like, are you sure he's a Loki? Isn't he has a yellow metal hat with horns? Where did he get that fits him? Where did he get it? Or who put it on him? It's that he's green. Like by that logic, Hulk is a Loki.
I love that even Loki was like, and one of the use a fucking alligator, which I'm heartbroken to say is not even weird to me at this point.
yeah, he's like, and I can't, sad to say I just rolled with that. That's where we are now. And like later on when he introduces him, he's like, in that one, It's best just go with it.
Just don't ask a lot of questions about it.
Yep.
We're in a weird place.
Yeah, I loved this. I thought this was fantastic. I cannot wait for the finale next week.
Yeah, same.
All right, guys, I think that's it for us this week. If you are a patron listener, reminder, you can go to the Patreon episode and listen to us talk about the Muppet movie for a while. If you're not, consider throwing us that bucket episode and listening to that. Listen to us talk about every Fast and Furious movie. Listen to our Shane Black marathons. All kinds of
Batman
bonus
oral
content
sex,
over
you
there.
know, the regular stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So thank you, Nick. Thank you, Les.
Thanks, dudes.
Thank you, dudes.
And thank you to our patrons. Thank you to our listeners. And until next time.
TV Dudes out. And also, if I steal a line from Jujutsu Kaisen, love yourself when you're pretty and dressed up. But also love yourself when you're kicking ass.
That show. Fucking anime. The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast out of Austin, Texas. We are exclusively listener supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/TVDudes.
You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TV Dudes. All the music for our show is done by our friend and original TV Dude, Gregory J. Amani Smith.
To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com. I'm Randy Lander.
I'm Les Weiler.
And I'm Kyle Scott.
Thanks for listening.